Where is my hat? Where is my hat? Found it. It is Wednesday, the 20th of May, 2026, and it is time to lock in. It's time. It needs to be done. It's time. For this next part, I need either a whiteboard or a sheet of paper, and I don't have either in the house. So yeah. So when I was starting YouTube, there was a few reasons or a few things that kind of came into place which prevented me from taking it seriously. So if we label this one time and then this one reasons, roughly give or take. Now I started YouTube roughly around 2008, and then if we say today is 2026, that's a huge gap. That's terrifying. You know, the reason, or the biggest reason that I didn't really do stuff was cringe, or fear of cringe, or fear of sharing things with my friends and my family. So I made content, I made gaming stuff, I really enjoyed it, I was proud of it, but the fear of cringe here was the main reason I never really shared it. Now, let me be clear, I'm not saying this is the main reason why I haven't been successful, but it's certainly a factor, because back here, a small reason was time. I had tons of it. I was 15, 16 at the time, I had tons of time, I had too much fear of cringe. If we then draw another chart, the main reason now is time, or lack thereof. I am now 33. Yeah, 33. The biggest reason that I really can't fully commit at the minute is time, lack thereof. I have too many social commitments, I have too many responsibilities, I have too social commitments. I have a family, I have a kid, I have a full-time job, I have other bits and pieces and adulting to do. So time is the biggest factor for me, whereas now I don't really care. That says cringe, I promise. I don't really care what people think. I just don't have time to execute on what I want to do. And if we take the axis here, that was a nice sweet spot, around about whenever that was, where I had some time and less fear of cringe, but this is where we are now. So time is the biggest factor. I don't really care what people think. I share things where I want to share them and all that good stuff. But yeah, being a man in his approaching mid-30s with a family, time is the biggest factor here. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that is the only reason I haven't been massively successful on YouTube. There's been a ton of other factors, but when I have to look back on my time making content and being on this platform, either as a user, a creator, a participant, or however you want to frame it, completely lost my train of thought. What I'm trying to say is those are not the only reasons, but the two biggest reasons I would say for back then and where I currently am in life. But I kind of want to take things seriously as much as I possibly can, at least for the remainder of this calendar year. Give it a once final proper good honest try to be, consistent and committed and systematic and everything else that comes with it, but mainly just to have fun. This isn't me trying to say, I'm going to make it, I'm going to be a YouTuber, not at all. I just have this massive creative bone in my body that I need to give an outlet to, and YouTube, luckily for me, is the perfect outlet for that. What content am I going to make? It's going to be a long laundry list that I'm not going to edit anything here by. I don't know why I went into that position there, but there's a ton of things that I'm trying to balance, which I know is the exact opposite advice that you should follow or give someone trying to, make content or be, a YouTuber or whatever it is that person is trying to achieve. But for me, I just have so many interests and so many things that I've started and so many creative outlets that I would like to nourish and flourish and all that good stuff that I want to give everything a good proper go. And of course, there's going to be different frequencies and different, consistencies and different, outputs for all these different things that I want to try. But yeah, I kind of want to do it. And that's the reason why I'm making these videos. And that's the reason why I'm posting on this, which is yet again, another channel that I'm trying to manage. So very briefly and very quickly, here are the things that I'm going to try and spin, all the plates that I'm going to try and spin at the one time. And before I get into this actually, I know that these plates are going to wobble, I know they're going to fall. Some of them are probably going to break, some of them are probably going to break beyond repair. I understand that. The whole point in what I'm trying to do here is, just to show you behind the scenes of how a regular guy who has so many commitments in terms of life and love and all that good stuff is really trying to be, as creative and the best version of himself that he possibly can be, and hopefully to maybe inspire some other people to really just give it a go. Don't really care what other people think and see what comes of it. If nothing comes of it, then excellent, that's fine. At least I can say a year from now that I gave it a good try and it wasn't meant to be, and I can then focus my attention on other areas. If it turns into something either successful or semi-successful, then even better. But I understand the sort of heavy load that I'm trying to pick up here, but everything that I'm going to try and do, I'm going to list off very, very quickly, and I'll go into them in more detail as this series, these videos, my life kind of progresses. Mainly going to be focused on YouTube. Let me just say right now, I'm not going to be doing any sort of streaming in any way, shape or form, at least not at the minute. It's not even in my lexicon or my plans to do any streaming. I love streaming, I love consuming streaming media, and I used to stream quite a bit, but consider that ruled out for now. But number one is my main channel, if you want to call it a main channel. This is the channel that I've had since 2008, the one that I kind of alluded to back in that really, really beautifully drawn graph that I done earlier. That's when I'm going to do quite a lot of gaming content on there. I'm not going to do Let's Plays, I'm not going to do gaming content in the traditional sense. I've tried that, it's been successful, it's been unsuccessful to some degree. But I want to make some really nice focused gaming adjacent and gaming centric content. So, I go to Gamescom. I've been lucky enough to go to Gamescom for the past 3 years due to my job, and I'm going again this year. I'm going to make content on Gamescom. I just done a really nice big activation for Forza that just came out over the past couple of weeks. I made a video on that. That's yet to come out. I'm going to make very much more structured, scripted, produced and scheduled videos, if you like. It's not going to be Let's Plays, it's not going to be things like that, but it's going to be a nice outlook or outlet where I can put quite a lot of effort into it and say, this is the fun stuff that I've got, and these are all the, all the equipment that I've bought over the years, this Osmo, these mics, everything else. I'm going to put everything to the test and throw everything that I possibly can into it and just make some really, really nice high quality gaming content. Of course, it's going to be very infrequent due to the nature of it, but that's going to be the main channel, if you like. Next up, I've got my running channel. One or two things can happen when you turn 30. You can either start running and make that your whole personality, or you can start a podcast. I've done both separately, so I'll get onto the podcast a little bit later on, but the next one up is running. I have started running, not only for me and something that I want to get into, but I've documented my journey again as someone who doesn't have a lot of time, as someone that is a father, as someone that has quite a lot of responsibilities. Now the average person who's not very good at running and has never really ran at all in their life can get into running in my journey from zero to wherever it ends up. I've just run my first half marathon. That content is all up in the channel, as well as my journey to that half marathon. I've got my next few runs planned. Running channel is one of my priorities for this project. And on the flip side of that, me and my girlfriend, my wonderful, wonderful girlfriend, have started a podcast. If you can't tell, I'm Scottish, I'm Glaswegian, she is English, she's from London. Not that you could tell the second part, she's not here. But we made a podcast about, us as a couple, as a relationship, as parents, and how our lives have kind of came together with the cultural differences or cultural clashes in a good way. How we came across, I now live in London, me living in London, when we go back up to Glasgow, that sort of thing. It's fun, it's exciting, it's good stuff, it's one of my favourite things that I've ever done, and we just have a really nice sort of laid back conversation. If you want to see that, again, everything that I talk about will be linked in the description down below. Following that, I then also have my cinnamon chicken channel. Now, two of my favourite foods in the entire world is fried chicken, more specifically chicken burgers, and cinnamon buns / cinnamon rolls, or whatever you want to call them. I've made a channel dedicated to finding the best cinnamon buns and the best chicken burgers, sandwiches, whatever you want to call it, in the world. This has been fun, this has been a pet project of mine. I've not really been consistent with it. I kind of semi-was, and it's on YouTube, it's on TikTok, it's on Instagram, that sort of thing, but I love it, and it's really just an excuse to try all these different foods and share my opinion on them. I'm not trying to be, a hardcore food reviewer or vlogger or blogger, whatever it is, but these are my favourite foods, some of my favourite foods, and I want to make content on them. So yeah, cinnamon chicken is another fairly high priority for me. I've then got a ton of different stuff that I am going to categorise as low priority, like TCG unboxing content that I made with my friend, and now I'm kind of doing it solo and that sort of stuff. I've got a bunch of other channels that I think are just really nice mediums and art forms that aren't necessarily YouTube worthy. So, taking virtual photography and video games, or one dedicated to, different things that I like. They're going to be much lower priority. I'm going to still make content for them as and when I possibly can, but yeah, that's all the plates that I'm trying to spin. Thank you for listening. It's there's quite a lot. I know it's quite a lot. It's, whenever someone starts YouTube or they start a passion project, whatever it is, they focus on one thing. They focus on something that they love. They focus on something that they want to pursue full time or whatever it is. And maybe I should maybe just focus on one of them, two of them at the most, but again, these are all things that I've started over the years because I've had a passion for it. It's something that I've been interested in. It's something that I still am interested in. And again, I'm at that point in my life now where I kind of need to commit to really see what this can turn into, if anything. Again, chances are it's not going to turn into anything, but you never know. Like I said, I could commit fully to this over the next 6, 9, 12 months, and it could turn into something beautiful and wonderful, and we need to see how that goes. Again, some of these plates are going to fall, they're going to wobble. I'm going to maintain some of them a bit more than others, some of them are going to be more consistent than others, and some of them are going to get a bit more love than the others. And that's fine, it's the nature of the content, it's the nature of the output, it's the nature of the consistency. So yeah, that's kind of where I am at the minute. Again, I've been kind of dabbling in this, and truth be told, one last channel. This channel that you're watching, this is also a separate channel for sort of behind the scenes, if you like. It doesn't really live properly on any of those other channels, so yeah, this is also another one that I kind of need to maintain in a more sort of behind the scenes, talking head, vlogging, Casey Neistat style bit of content. And truth be told, I started this series in March, and that's when I started to get into gear. And then even from then, it kind of fell flat over the past 2 months due to a number of different reasons. So I'm restarting it from the 20th of May, but again, today's the 22nd. If you can't already tell, I like to talk, I like to waffle, I get distracted easily. I procrastinate, I put things to the side, and then I get to them at some point later on. I've got a whole bunch of things that are kind of going on at the minute, and hopefully I can overcome them as well. Don't know where I'm going with this point. It's quite a lot. Yeah, it's quite a lot. But again, since I semi-started to get on track in March before the soft reboot, which you're watching now, I have been uploading content to those channels. So the running channel's kind of booming. I've started getting back into Cinnamon Chicken. The podcast has been on a little bit of a hiatus for one or two reasons, but we're going to go back into that. And then again, the main channel, if you like, I'm going to, at the time of recording, I've still got that Forza video to edit. So that's going to have content on there pretty soon as well. So everything's coming up. I just need to get organised. That's the main thing that I need to do before I actually properly dive in with 2 feet. I need to get organised. And the first thing that I need to do is organise my office, workspace, spare room, because it is littered, putting it kindly, of disorganisation. And there's so many things on my desk, there's so many things on the chair, there's so many things just floating about that need to find a home, that need to be recategorised, reorganised. And that's the first job before I can properly dive in and really commit to all this content. Having a cluttered workspace means my mind is quite cluttered, and not only is my physical workspace cluttered, my digital workspace is also very cluttered. I've got files everywhere. I've got files between 2 or 3 different machines. My OneDrive that I try to unify everything with is even worse. I need to sort all that stuff out first, and then I can fully commit to all the other bits, because I feel like once that's done, I'll have clarity and I'll be able to see things a bit clearer, and just commit that little bit harder, if you can commit any harder. Let's go sort out the office. I don't know why that took me so long, but I finally cleaned up the desk. There was just loads of, not tat, but just things that weren't organised, like piles of Pokemon cards and receipts and documents and things that had to be thrown in the bin. And it was just, one of these things that when I was working, it was just all getting moved about in a circle, and again and again and again. I finally just took the time, and it was what, you ever get that thing? It's classic procrastination / ADHD tendencies. You've got a task and you put it off for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then when you finally do it, it takes you like half an hour to an hour, and you're thinking, I could have done that months ago. Anyway, I've done it. I'm right in the middle of doing it digitally on, all my files on my desktop. They're all over the place, but they're in a pretty good spot. I just need to tidy up a few more bits, and then that's a nice sort of clean slate and a nice clean mind to help me lock in that little bit further. And speaking of locking in, I'm almost finished my first video since starting this new process. And surprisingly for me, it is actually a video on my main channel. I don't really make Sorry, the window's open. It is in the middle of a heat wave here in London. It is Tuesday the 26th for context, and it's 33 degrees currently where I am. But it's a channel or a video from my main channel. I haven't really made content on there in a long time, other than a couple of short videos here and there. The channel that's been receiving quite a lot of my attention over the past few weeks and months is the running channel and the podcast channel, and slightly the cinnamon chicken channel. But the main channel, if you like, I've kind of been in flux about what I want to do and what I want to make. I didn't really want to do gameplay and let's plays anymore, because that's not really something I've done for years, if I'm honest, even if that's where my channel started. But I want to make gaming focused content that is very high produced, almost scripted to an extent. And sometimes when I go to events and when I do other bits and pieces like that are gaming focused and gaming orientated, I can make a vlog on it. And that's exactly what I've done. I as part of my job and where I am and what I do for a living, we helped promote the launch of Forza Horizon 6 in the UK by hosting our very own Horizon Festival. It was a wonderful day. If you want to see the ins and outs of it, check out the Xbox UK social channels. It's all over there. But if you want to see a slight behind the scenes of it, but again, all above board, then that is going to be my first video, which I'm almost done. I've done the main edit for it in terms of clips. I just need to find some nice music and kind of interlace it a little bit there. And then that should hopefully go live tonight, if not tomorrow. By the time you're watching this, it will be live on the main channel. And like I said, everything that I talk about and all my projects and all the plates that I'm spinning will be linked in the description down below for every single video. And that kind of brings me almost to the end of this week and this video. So thank you very much for watching. Consider this video a opening bookend, a level setter, a introduction to this channel and what my vision is and what I'm trying to do. And you can kind of think of this channel as a behind the scenes vlog of everything that I do on every other channel, and my methodology, my thoughts, my strategy, and how I bring my, ideally creative vision and passion to life. If you're interested in that kind of content, then you're more than welcome to subscribe. And again, everything that I talk about in all the channels that I try to manage and update and upload and create content for will be listed in the description down below. In fact, everything that I think is relevant to this and that you might be interested in will be linked in the description down below, including socials and resources and everything else that are in between. I'm not trying to sell you anything, I'm not trying to give you anything or whatever. I'm just trying to document my journey of an average guy who works full-time and has a family, and how he's trying to, channel his creative wishes into the world, and how I manage that and that sort of thing. So if that's something that you're interested in, and that seems like a bit of you, then you're more than welcome to subscribe and follow me on all the other socials and all that good stuff as well. It's pitch black down there because we are currently in the middle of a heat wave in the UK and London. It is far too warm for my Scottish body to handle. Anyway, that's how I'm trying to beat the heat. In terms of frequency, hopefully I could do something like this weekly, but I'm not going to put an actual sort of deadline or timeline on it, if you like. I'll record stuff as and when I'm doing it. There might be a few days where I'm not doing anything due to other commitments that I've got, but whenever I'm doing something that I think is relevant, or that is relevant, that I think is, interesting enough to document, then I will do that. So when I'm creating content, when I'm coming up with new ideas, how I'm, coming up with a new strategy for a particular channel, when I'm actually editing things together, all that sort of thing, and it will be included. And then as time goes on and as I, finesse and refine this type of content, then it will be a bit more, self-serving, if you like, as we move forward. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I'm trying to do here. I want to do it, and I want to make this content in these videos because I think it's interesting and I think it's fun, and truth be told, it's just another creative outlet for me to do things that don't really fit anywhere else on the internet. But it's also to keep me accountable for things that I'm trying to do. Again, if I give it to the end of the calendar year, or even like a full 12 months from now, and nothing comes of it, then at least I have peace of mind to say that I gave it a good old try, I properly tried, and we can go from there. But yeah, that's the extent of it. And if you stay here, you will realise that I waffle on quite a lot. So apologies in advance about that. It's just who I am as a person.
Again, the first bit of content is almost ready. By the time you're watching this, it will be up on the channel, and that is on the main sort of gaming channel, if you like, and that was my time at the Forza Horizon Festival. My priorities moving into the next couple of weeks is going to be the running in the podcast channel, so if you want to see more behind the scenes for that, then subscribe to this channel, and if you want to see that actual content, then links again are in the description. But again, thank you for watching, thank you for bearing with me, thank you for being, so attentive if you've attended this far in the video. My name is Sam, welcome. Again, check out everything if you want. Have a wonderful day. Let me know what your goals and aspirations are down below. If you've got things that you want to share, then link them in the description, or point me in a direction, because I'm always keen to see people's content and what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve in life. It's inspirational, and hopefully we can bounce ideas off each other and that sort of thing. Have a good day. At the time of recording, I hope you are surviving the heat if it is warm where you are. Even if it's not the time of recording, if it's warm, I hope you're surviving the heat. Stay hydrated, stay well, stay happy, stay all the stuff below. And yeah, I'll see you next time for more random content.